Hi, it's Paul, and in this video I'm an old man with my Brompton Electric, and a couple of months into owning it and using it, done about 500 miles I guess on this particular bike. I want to have a chat about my thoughts on it, issues, problems, feelings, etc, etc. It's early o'clock on a UK autumn's morning. It's early o'clock on a UK autumn morning, and I'm riding through a cemetery. Strange old place to be riding, I guess. I've no idea what this looks like at the moment because it's still sort of half light, not quite dawn yet. So I'm going to pedal on and we'll have a chat about it as hopefully the sun comes up. Come along for the ride. So first of all, let's quickly get out of the way why I bought a Brompton. In fact, why I bought two Bromptons and why electrics. So the reason for Bromptons is very simple: storage space and portability. We wanted them, my wife and I got one each. I got a 6-speed, she got a 2-speed, and we got one each to be able to stick them in the car in the future and drive about to places and go for a ride. Originally I was just going to buy an electric for my wife. She cycles less than me and finds it hard work, so I was going to go over standard analog. Partly that's the reason for the 6-speed, but then we rode them, tried them, and I found I actually enjoyed the electric a lot more than I thought I would. So we had an opportunity to buy the two bikes at the same time. No advantage financially, just the fact that they were available. This was the sort of halfway through COVID, when bikes per se were very few and far between. Still are, to be honest. So we took the opportunity and bought them. And the difference it's made to me is the fact that it does get me out and about. Although I would consider myself a cyclist, I've been cycling since I was probably a teenager, earlier even. I kind of not fallen out of love with it. I found it took too much of an effort. We live at the bottom of a hill, so everywhere I go, I have to go uphill. And I just found it, as the years went by, so much like hard work. Now, with e-bikes, I find myself out every morning that I possibly can, regardless of the weather. Assuming I'm not away working or something like that, I will be out on the bike. And that is the difference e-bikes have made for me. Call it cheating, call it what you want. But as far as I'm concerned, if it gets you out on the bike, it's a good thing. It's great. I've got about 5 bikes. No bloody good if I don't use them. So that's why e-bikes. Brompton, as I say, for the storage and the portability. There are always questions about how long does the charge last. It lasts as long as it lasts. I've had, I think the maximum I've had out of this, I haven't run it out, but the greatest distance I've cycled on it, I think, was about 45 miles, and it didn't run out. I have the assistance mode running all the time, but something to know, if you don't know on e-bikes, in the UK and Europe is they're speed limited. So once you get above 15 mile an hour, 25 kilometres an hour, the electric assistance cuts out. So if you cycle above that speed, which I do sometimes, then your assistance is doing nothing. It switches itself off, so it just sits there. And if you do what I do, all it does is charges your phone, which actually is a very handy thing to have, phone charging. But in terms of the charge, as I say, I've had 40 odd miles out of it on one charge, and it didn't run out. Today, I've got it on mode 2, level 2, because I wanted to do this video without you having to listen to too much, because I'm pedalling my little legs off. So I wanted to get some miles in before work this morning, so I've run it on level 2 today, which I don't normally do. I normally run it on level 1, and I've done, I don't know, probably 10 miles this morning, and I've dropped one LED. So what do I like? I like the engineering design. It's clever. I like the compactness of the fold. As far as I'm aware, it's the smallest fold that you can buy on a folding bike. So it turns out tiny. I like the robustness of it. It seems tough, the bike itself. I'll talk in a minute about dislikes, and I'll talk about the battery mount, but we'll come to that. I like the fact it's British made. I'm English, so British made is good. Support the native economy and all the rest of it. And I like the way it's finished. So overall, I love the bike. I mean, it's a great bike. Really enjoy it. So that's that. Okay, what do I not like? And there are a few things. I don't like the sticky gear shift. I believe this is something many Brompton owners are familiar with. The gear shift, there are 2 gear shifts on the 6-speed anyway. 2-speed there's 1, but on the 6-speed there's 2 gear shifts, and the right hand one, which does the 3-speed Sturmey Archer gear change, sticks. You push it over one way and it sticks there, and it's an utter pain. I find it really irritating. Apparently it's done it for years. It's a known Brompton thing. So I would be kind of keen to understand that Brompton had gone, do you know what, that's a problem we should fix. So there you go, Brompton. Sort yourselves out, fix the gear shift. I don't like, on the electric, the fact that the battery doesn't want to charge unless it's discharged to something like 75-80%. If you've only used 5% on it, if you've knocked the top bar off or the top LED off, just discharged it a little bit, it doesn't fully charge. It just sits there, goes, yeah, it's nearly charged, I'm not going to charge anymore. I think that's a pain. When you plug it in and it needs any charge, it should charge up. It doesn't. There's only 2 options on the Brompton bag on the electric. There's the one that comes with it, a little bag, big city bag, both of which are great, but I'd actually like a kind of mid-sized one. The big one, the city bag, is big. I take it to do the shopping and all sorts, so it's awesome. Got no complaints about it as a bag. There's just not enough of a range on them. So I know there are other opportunities, there's other providers that will sell you bags, but I'm talking about Brompton, the specific Brompton make. There's only two options, and in my opinion, there should be more. So let's talk about the battery to mounting bracket connection while we're in the region of the bag. In case you don't know, the battery sits inside the bag on a frame. The frame clips onto the mount on the front of the bike. It's all blissfully simple, but it's a little bit prone to issues. But essentially the issue is that the location where the battery goes on, it clicks in, there's a little catch thing, and the catch doesn't hold it down solidly enough. I'll do a full video on it at some point, explaining what I've done, what it does, what I think the problem is, and how I've personally fixed it on mine. So, enough said about that for the minute, but it's something I don't like. I've also had a motor failure on it. Now, I don't actually class that as something I don't like, because, as they say, happens. Cars have warranty failures, bikes have warranty failures, your washing machine has a warranty failure. Sometimes things go wrong. I accept that. The motor failed, Brompton changed it under warranty at the dealer that I bought it from, which was Brilliant Bikes, who are brilliant. They changed it, absolutely no questions whatsoever. No discussion about, oh, what have you done with it, which I hadn't done anything except ride it. It did fail, they changed it. So, motor failed, dealer fixed it, end of story. So what else don't I like? I don't like the fact that it doesn't do what they call shopping cart mode unless you buy one with a rack. Now, when we bought ours, there wasn't one with a rack available. You either bought the bike that you could find, or you didn't buy a bike. Subsequently, I've had mine fitted with the rack, the rear rack, and that gives you something that's called shopping cart mode, which again, I'll do a video on that sometime. There are plenty of other videos talking about Brompton shopping cart mode, so you can easily find out some information on it. But it irritates me that despite the fact the rear mudguard or fender has a little wheel on it, and the rear of the frame has a little wheels on it, it doesn't roll unless you've got the rack. If you've just got a standard no rack, ours don't roll. I've seen again comments online saying that they do, but neither of ours did, and I can't see how they would. So that's a dislike. So that's kind of the dislikes. So something else I want to talk about is things that you might not like if you are considering buying one, but that don't particularly worry me. There are things that I've noted on it that I find noticeable, but I'm not particularly concerned. It is a very harsh ride. If you are approaching buying one as an older or more fragile person, it will bounce you about. Despite the fact it has rear suspension, and despite the fact that on mine I've added a sprung saddle, it is a very harsh ride. I've spent years on road bikes and stuff, all of which have a hard ride. I don't particularly worry. But if you're looking for comfort, then I'm afraid Brompton is not your choice. said, don't go on what I've told you. Make your own decision. Go and try one. See how you get on with it. Don't just take my word for it. And that applies with all of the things. So, uncomfortable ride. It's not a particularly pleasant ride on any surface that's lumpy. So that's number one. Number two that you might not like if you were thinking of buying one is it's blooming heavy. I forget what weight it comes in at. I will add that on text on the video screen, but it is heavy. If you keep the battery on it and lift it, it is really heavy. So again, if you're sort of, I don't know, mid-20s, powerlifting in the gym every morning, then you're going to throw it around no problem. I'm 63. My weightlifting days are few and far between now. I can lift it, it's not an issue, but it's heavy. If you struggle lifting, then you're going to struggle getting it in the back of a car or into whatever you need to cart it about it. So again, go and find a shop that's got one, pick it up, see what you think. Quickly going back to the harsh ride, I will say that I run mine with the tyres at 100 psi. There's a Brompton recommendation, I think, that says 80 to 100 psi. I run mine at the top end of that range because I don't want pinch flats. I do ride lumpy surfaces, and lumpy surfaces are what give you pinch flats, and I just don't want that. So I run high tyre pressures. You can choose to run lower tyre pressures and you will have a slightly less harsh ride. But again, go try one, see what you think. So that kind of sums up the basics of it, what I think. A few months in, a few 100 miles in. The question I always try and answer about any review type thing I do is, do I like it? The answer to which is, yes, absolutely, I think it's awesome. Would I buy it again, or would I buy something different? I would definitely buy it again. If I didn't have it, then I would happily buy another one. Despite the few little idiosyncrasies, it's great. But I will close by saying it is not now my only e-bike. Since I bought this, I bought the Trek Rail 7, which I will put in another video, and I bought that because this, the Brompton, does not satisfy my need for cycling off-road. It's a very good, very capable, very robust little bike. But if you're looking for something that comes anywhere near the heading of mountain bike or off-road capability, your basic Brompton isn't ideal. Tiny wheels, skinny tyres. I know they did the Brompton Explorer a couple of years back. I've no experience of it, but certainly on the electric, it very much does not like off-road. I have tried it, it doesn't work. That pretty much covers it all then. This is just a bit of footage that I took earlier on in the day in case I needed any filler. Just one thing I needed to add in that I didn't talk about, which was the actual gear change system.
The 6-speed you might find complex. The 2-speed is simple. It's up or down. The 6-speed is somewhat more complicated. It's 3-speed on one lever and 2-speed on the other, and it's quite an interesting up one on one side, then up one on the other side, then down one on the first side, then up one on the second side, and so on and so forth. So it can be a little bit of fun. I'm fine with it. I got used to it fairly quickly. My wife tried it and hated it. So again, as I've said lots of times before, go and try one out and see how you get on. Other than that, thanks for watching as always. Hope it's been of some use to you. Check out the blog and the website on oldmanwith.com. Check out the rest of the channel. And thanks for watching again, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.